This is gonna be painful. I have a confession to make. My renderings used to look horrible. And I'm sure you know that the one thing that can help to destroy a deal with a client is a bad rendering. Trust me, you just want it to look good. When you're showing it to the client, you just want it to look good. So what's the trick? The whole point of a rendering is to make something look realistic. But the problem in Fusion 360 is that if you have your item in a standard design window, the background's just going to be gray. So what do? You have to create the environment around your object. And today, we're going to be in Fusion 360 showing you how to do it. All right, so we're back. We've got Fusion 360 open now, and I've got my glasses on so that I can see. What we have here is a design that I did for a local gym. It's what I refer to as a vertical workstation. So it's intended to have a TV mounted so that they can display the workout that they're going to do. And then the shelves are for either a computer or cable modem or something like that you would need to set things on. The bottom shelf can be used for a keyboard, mouse, that kind of thing. It's around 7 feet tall. This upright tube here is a 3-inch by 3-inch piece of steel tubing, so that kind of gives you a sense of the scale. But the problem with this is that when I go to present them with this design concept, this is unrefined, I guess is the right word. It just doesn't really fit with the rest of their gym environment. So what I want to do is I want to show them something that's going to be more like what they're going to see in real life. So the easiest way to do that in Fusion 360 obviously is with renderings. So right now I am in the render workspace. They have ways to set environments. We can go to scene settings. They've got an environment library here that's got some different lighting. You can do you can do all kinds of different things to set the scene around this object. But what I want to do, because none of these, like their gym is obviously not in a snowfield, that's not where this thing's going to go. So what I want to do is instead of use one of their predefined environments, I'm going to create my own. So their gym is a concrete wall. This is going to go against a concrete wall and a rubber floor. Really, really simple. In order to make this fit more in line with their environment, what I want to do is actually draw in that environment. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go back to the design workspace here. I am going to create a new sketch, and let's make it on this plane right here. So as you can see, my bottom footing's a little off here, but that's all right for the purposes of this. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to project some of this stuff on here, P. So now I've got a line. I'm going to say okay. I'm just going to draw out some environment stuff here. All right, so let's make this. We can make it whatever size we want. Let's make it pretty big so that we can really zoom in and out as needed. Make that 144. Actually, let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's make it 120. I think I might have my... Oh, they're on. Okay, there we go. I come down. This doesn't really matter here. I'm going to make a straight line all the way out. And I am not going to define any of these or constrain any of them. I'm just going to do some loose sketching here. Go here. And let's just close it off. All right, so we've got now this sketch of what I'm going to consider to be basically a floor and a wall. That's really what I'm doing here. I'm trying to create an environment. I'm going to take this, I'm going to extrude it, and I'm going to go both sides, and I'm going to go pretty far, I think, just to be able to zoom in and out as needed. And I'm going to create a new body out of that, and I think that should work. All right, look at that. We've got a place. We've got a floor and a wall at least. All right, but this still doesn't work for us because it's gray, and their gym is not all gray. So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to set some appearances for each one of these faces. And Fusion 360 has built-in appearances, and you can download them. They are pretty awesome. I already have some of them in here, so you'll see right here I've got rubber set on this one. I've got the powder coating, obviously. This is a concrete one, and they're all found down here in this library. So you can search. This is what I did to find the rubber one. I searched for rubber Fusion 360 appearance library. They've got different versions of it: bumpy, hard, soft, weathered, and then a silicone. I did the same thing with concrete to get this appearance right here. Downloaded it. Really simple. All right, so this wall in their facility is concrete. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to select faces, because I don't want to apply this to this entire body. I only want it on this face right here. So I'm going to go concrete on that face. Now, it's already starting to look better, but what you would notice if you just tried to do this right off the bat is that sometimes this pattern here can end up looking a little funky, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to right click on the concrete appearance. I'm going to go to edit, and right here where it says scale, I'm going to drag this slider back to show you what it would look like as a default. This is a very repeated pattern because our surface is so large here. The face is so big that the scale of this is all off if you take it down. Obviously, this is not a nice natural looking concrete. So what I do to fix that, I'm going to take that scale and I'm going to drag it out. This gives me a much better picture of what some natural concrete might look like. You can also rotate it if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave mine at 0 because I kind of like the way this looks. Roughness and reflectance, depending on the appearance, you're going to be able to change those and see some significant change on your actual appearance. But for this one, you're not going to see a ton. I'm going to go ahead and click done here. It's giving me a warning, but it is because it's the default material there. So here we're good. We've got our concrete look now. That's kind of nice, but now we've still got this gray floor. We need to fix that. So I downloaded the soft rubber material appearance, and I'm going to go ahead, take this, drag it down there. Now, this one's a little bit tougher to see, and some of these appearances take a little bit of experimenting. All right, so as you can see, I'm going to rotate, and we've got a decent rubber appearance. I don't know if you can see this, but again, I think what I'm going to do to try to set this appearance is I'm going to right click and go to edit, and you can change the color of this as well. So if it's a different color rubber, you can go ahead and change it. I'm just going to leave it as kind of like a grayish black. I'm not going to make it perfectly black because I feel like that's going to blend in too much with my actual object here. So now I'm going to go ahead and change the scale like I did on the last one. Again, as you increase that scale, you're going to start to see that drag out And here we're dragging back in. Now rubber is a little bit easier one to deal with. It doesn't have to be quite as natural. Actually, this looks kind of interesting if I do that. All right, let's go with this. So now I've got my rubber floor, my concrete wall. If I really wanted to, I could, you know, create some simple like baseboard here or kind of round that edge to make that look a little bit better along this corner. But for the purposes of this particular rendering, I think this is actually going to look pretty good. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say close. And now, instead of being in the design window, I'm going to go back to render. I'm going to deselect this surface here, and now I can get this in a position that looks decent from a render perspective. Get it nice and straight there. Now's when I wish I had a 3D mouse. And for the purposes of this render, I'm just going to do an in-canvas one. We could obviously do a traditional render and use some of our credits that we've got here, but I'm just going to do a local in-canvas render here. I'm going to go to my settings, make sure that everything looks all right here. Yeah, resolution max 100%. I'm just going to say okay, and go ahead and start the render. Now I'm going to pause this before we end, and you'll see the finished product at the end of the video. But for this, you know, I usually like to at least get it out to the little excellent dialogue here. These do tend to take a while, but I think what you'll find, and you can already start it seeing to materialize here, is we actually have something that's going to be quite a bit more realistic than just an object over a white or gray background. So hopefully this was helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. And I think what we're going to do next time is actually show you how to get some cool lighting on this. That's a whole separate video in and of itself, but you know, as you can see, we can really, you know, we could really benefit from some shadow to make this look even more realistic, but that's a whole nother topic. So as you can see, creating your environment really not that hard, and makes a big difference when you're showing somebody what something could potentially look like. So like I said, feel free to comment down below, and if you have any tips for me, I am by no means an expert. I'm an amateur. I figure this stuff out on my own and try to provide some helpful tips where I can. But if you see something that maybe I missed or that could have been done differently, feel free to comment down below. Happy to hear from you. As always, everybody, keep thinking, keep designing, and we will see you next time.